So the best DAW for indie music production is probably going to be Pro Tools, Reaper or Cubase. It all depends on your workflow and how you want to create your music. So if you're playing in a band and you don't want to do a lot of processing and you've got all the instruments, you've got them for real, like there's no VSTs, no virtual instruments, no MIDI, I would probably go with Pro Tools. And if you're recording with a band, you could like multi-record every track at the same time as in a live performance. So if you want to create your indie music with only real instruments, then Pro Tools is probably your best bet. It's very pricey though, so that's a downside, but if you can afford it, it's probably the best for you in your case. But if you're like me, just a solo artist that wants to create the sounds and the instruments and want to play the instruments of a full band, but you can't really play them in real life, you're gonna need very good, you're gonna want very good MIDI capacity, and that is where Pro Tools lacks. It's not very good, and it's not up there with other DAWs in terms of MIDI. So if you're like me, just a solo artist, you're gonna use a lot of MIDI, then I would go with Pro Tools or Reaper. Now, which of those you're gonna choose is probably, it all comes down to workflow and your budget. So Cubase 10 is very expensive, just like Pro Tools. I think it's a bit cheaper than Pro Tools, but it's very expensive. And Reaper just costs about $60. So there's a huge advantage to the price of Reaper compared to Cubase, if the budget is something that limits you. But the difference between Reaper and Cubase all comes down to workflow. So that is what you should check out. Those two, if you're like me, or Pro Tools if you're gonna record like with a full band, kind of like the old school way. Now, why I didn't mention Studio One is because it's a great DAW. I've tried it and it's amazing. But the thing is, it's very good for audio. It's very good for audio, but the MIDI, it kind of lacks the MIDI. I find it like right in between Pro Tools and Reaper or Cubase in terms of MIDI capacity. I mean, it's not the best, but it definitely works. It's a great DAW that way. So I would probably go with Reaper or Cubase for the best DAW for producing indie folk music.